Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
To celebrate the Chicago Bears winning, I'm going to record this entire podcast in the same weather that they partook in.
Okay.
I hope this audio quality is just fine.
Right now, it's actually quite soothing. Yeah.
It's very cold.
Yeah.
It's very cold.
All right. Well, let me ask you: what's worse, this or having your feet soaked in water? While wearing
I mean,
socks?
this is my whole fucking body, so
Yeah. But like, I would say it's worse if you're wearing socks and you're getting soaked. I think that's worse than getting your whole body soaked, because
it depends what you're wearing and how cold it is. Because if you're in like a t-shirt and shorts and it's 50 degrees and raining outside,
Sure.
I would not enjoy that.
Sure, but I would say that, like, how weird of a feeling it is when just one part of your body is soaked compared to everything else. Like, I just feel like
fair.
there is like this off feeling of like, oh wait, at least I know like I'm completely soaked. It's kind of a miserable feeling, but that's fine. But then the weirdness of being in your socks and putting your feet into water. Like,
At some point it just fades away.
That's true. You could speak from experience on that front.
Yeah,
That's fair. That was still one of my favorite moments ever in the podcast history. It was great. Anyways, welcome everyone. So we're gonna week one. Week one's in the books. We're good. We have a sample size to work with. Well, not really. We have one game each for every single team. But we can talk about them in some capacity, maybe go into details. And we'll get to a week one recap in a bit. We are also going to give some of our overreactions, because that is just the typical thing that you do after week one, is overreact to everything. And then we'll do our week two picks. But before we get to all that, Matt, you were talking to me earlier today. You brought up something that I was not completely aware of regarding a former Packers quarterback who seems to be almost as problematic, or maybe even more problematic, than the current Packers quarterback. Could you tell me a bit more about this?
Yeah, I mean, like, Brett Favre is, like, Republican as hell, which is, like, fine, which is whatever.
Yeah.
But, Brett Favre committed, like, a massive amount of fraud with the welfare funds of the state of Mississippi.
Huh.
With the government of Mississippi.
Interesting.
So they took the welfare that was meant for, welfare, and they funneled it, and Mississippi being America's poorest state, they built a volleyball center at the college that his daughter went to. Which is totally cool, and not at all welfare fraud.
I'm dumb. Welfare is just like the money that is given to people, that low income families, right?
To help people who need it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So is he gonna get charged with welfare?
I don't know.
Fraud?
I don't know the specifics of, like, the texts that Favre and someone close to the governor exchanged, like, just got released today. But the FBI is currently questioning him, so.
Okay.
And this is from just a cursory search on Twitter.
But that's definitely like that like they have the evidence. They just need to charge him,
like he definitely did that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen. I love when scumbag celebrities get brought down in glorious fashions, and I'm into it. I can't wait for the documentary on that. Like, that's gonna be great. That's what I mean. It's weird too that it's not getting more pop, because I follow a good amount of NFL media still on Twitter. I unfollowed a bunch over the last few years just because my love of the game kind of was fading away. Kind of bounced back recently, but like, it's been all over the place. But like, no one's talking about it, and it's and you would think that would be a much bigger deal considering the circumstances, who he is, and just, I don't know, the absurdity of stealing welfare checks from people and then using it for your own daughter, essentially.
You would think so, right?
You would think it would be a big story,
right?
But I guess not. Oh. Well, I guess that just shows where we are as a society. Right? We're just, people that you think are going to be held more accountable, maybe might not be. It's wonderful. What a way to get things going here. Let's jump into week 1. All right, let's jump into some football. All right, Brett Favre. Hopefully he gets what he deserves. But for now, we turn to the game of the week. We're going to a different type of Steeler this time. We're going to the Steelers.
That one really got me.
The Bengals. I'm glad I hit. This game was fucking nuts. And it felt like about like halfway through the game, it felt like the Bengals were just gonna have a bad fucking day. It reminded me a little bit of what happened last year when it was the Steelers and Bills, and the Steelers kind of like handed it to the Bills a little bit. I believe that was last year. I could be wrong.
Sounds right.
But this time around, the Bengals were in a hole. Joe Burrow 5 turnovers, and they came back and tied the game with a touchdown, and could have won the game on an extra point. And then the snap was high, and the kicker doinked it off the uprights, and it went to overtime.
To clarify, the lawn snapper was injured, so this was the backup lawn snapper. So the snap timing, all that was off.
Yeah, so it was not the usual unit that you roll out for a kicking situation. So that's why the Bengals had some issues on that front, why Evan McPherson wasn't his fierce self, as we've come to learn about him. And it led to an overtime that was long and was a whole other mess of like, will it get through? Will they kick the field goal? Will they not? And again, Evan McPherson went to kick it. The snap was high, and the kick went wide left, and it was like, oh my god. And then finally the Steelers pull off the upset. Chris Boswell, who's been with the Steelers for quite some time now, he gets the kick off, and it's good. They win the game, and it kind of felt like the Steelers should have won the game much earlier in the day, but the Bengals came roaring back. It was just a wild game from start to finish. Obviously, were quite a few of these wild games, but I felt like this one kind of encompassed everything that happened in week 1, where it was just chaos, especially with the kickers not getting them in to the uprights. Any thoughts on this game, Matt?
You gotta love kicker nonsense. It's the best.
Yeah.
I am very heavily invested in the Bengals in fantasy this year.
Sure.
So the first half of the game was very anxiety inducing.
Yeah. How did you do? How was week 1 for you?
So I won my dynasty league, not very ceremoniously.
Sure.
I lost one of my leagues.
Okay.
And then I won the other one and it's a weird scoring system where you can get two wins every week. So you get one for winning your head-to-head matchup, but then you also get one win for finishing in the top 50% of all teams.
Sure.
So you could you could go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2, depending on the week.
Huh. Interesting.
So that way, if like your head-to-head matchup, like you have the second best team in the week, but you're facing the first best team, you still get a win from that.
Huh.
So out of 4 possible wins, I got 3.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's fair. That's good. That's some good shit right there. Are you worried about the Bengals?
No.
Yeah, me either. I'm not there with that. I think the offensive line's an issue.
Yeah, but they were an issue last year.
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I do think it's notable, at least through week 1, that it is not showing that it improved, despite the fact that they did add a couple of pieces. Like it felt like okay, yeah, it's business as usual for the Bengals offensive line, but the fact that it's still that way even after adding the pieces, that's not great. That could be a reflection of coaching as well. That's there's a few different ways to go about like looking at that. I am with you though. I think the Steelers defense is just very good.
Yep.
I think that they kind of went by the wayside last year. Didn't really work out for them, but now and granted they did lose T.J. Watt. He's gonna be out for quite a little bit. He doesn't sound like it's gonna be season ending, but he's gonna be out a little bit with a torn pec. But something about this game made me think, like, okay, the Steelers are not going to be like worst of this division. Like I think that you're looking at a team that's going to be extremely competitive and hard to beat because it's a Mike Tomlin coach team, and they still have a lot of defensive players that are going to suffocate the fuck out of you.
Yep.
That's just interesting. So yeah, I think overall Bengals not worried about super much, and then Steelers I'm more impressed by than I thought going into last week.
I agree.
Blowout of the week. Chiefs at the Cardinals. I was a little surprised this was a blowout, but not a ton surprised because I don't know about you, Matt, but for me, Cardinals I've been completely just like out on. I've not been a fan of this team in like recent times. I just feel like there's just something about them that just is like a little bit like circus music in the background. Like there's just something about them that just don't hit right for me. And the Chiefs poured it on them. The offense looks awesome. The defense stood up at moments. And the Cardinals completely fell apart. No, of course they were missing quite a few notable pieces. You know, obviously
Right.
DeAndre Hopkins, JJ Watt not being there. You know, there's some notable names not in that game, but still, just not a great performance for the Cardinals. And I think the Chiefs, though, I think they're the bigger story here. I think they proved that the ending of that AFC Championship game is not going to define them moving forward.
No, not at all. And I didn't think it would. I still thought that they were going to be pretty damn good this year.
Yeah.
With the Cardinals, they just like they really do not have a defense.
Yeah. 100%. Even with JJ, like if he comes back, like he's a great player from all time, but like,
oh goodness, sorry,
is he still...
Jesus Christ, Maggie!
Oh no.
Interruption by my dogs. There's probably another dog walking by, and she cannot fucking stand that.
You're in an interesting circumstance of having you're babysitting one dog and you have your other as well. Yeah. So it's just interesting recording setup. But I understand the circumstance that's going to happen. Yeah, the Cardinals are in a rough spot, I think. I was thinking about putting this in an overreaction, but I wanted to kind of do like get teams that we're not talking about during the recap. I think the Cardinals have a chance of being one of the worst NFC West teams, and maybe even one of the worst NFC teams.
There's a chance, yeah.
Because it's just like even on offense,
I think Cliff's seat started heating up.
That's where I'm at too, because like I feel like their offense has pieces, certainly, and they could work, but there's just something about the current setup that just doesn't seem like it's gonna work well. And I don't know, I have so many questions about the team and them starting out bad, considering the fact that their strength is in the early season. Not great, not ideal, but also not ideal to face the Chiefs week 1. Chaos of the week. Now this is a tough one because of course week 1 filled with chaos.
Lots of chaos. The chaos.
All the chaos. But there is nothing. Not a Seahawks upsetting Russell Wilson. Not a Giants coming into Tennessee and beating the former number 1 overall seed. Nothing that was going to stop me from putting the Chicago Bears beating the 49ers in the rain on Sunday.
Let's make one thing 100% clear.
Yeah.
That result would not have happened if it was not a downpour.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why, like, I get the argument maybe to have chosen a different one, but there's just something about, for me, I was higher on the Niners, I think, this year than you were coming in. I know that you like the Niners, but I had them as a Super Bowl pick.
Right.
And so, for me, looking at that, and then also looking at, like, the Bears, to me, being a potential number 1 overall pick choice for the end of the year, the fact that the Bears beat the Niners and, like, things just looked not great for the Niners. Like Trey Lance didn't really perform well, but again, like
No.
you said, it was downpouring. Like that is a factor. There's just something about everything about this that was like this. This probably killed a lot of people's survivor pools. Like this was was a game that like, okay, guarantee that the 49ers are gonna win this game, and no, like that did not happen. But like for you, Matt, because I know I don't know how much you got the chance to see in this game. Did you see something in the Bears that you think that they could be competitive this year?
I think that like the fact that Justin Fields can hit his opponents is pretty nice. It's again like literally every single person in that game was hard to judge. The exceptions were, hey, David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert were pretty good at running.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
And that was about it, because you could not judge football being played because of the fucking downpour. Yeah. And I live near Chicago, and it was raining all goddamn day. Like I got it before Soldier Field did.
Right. I also like. I guess that's why this game also just screams chaos to me, because it's just like, how about we just fucking destroy the field with water now? Let's just bring the weather, like complete all the weather on this game, and just destroy it.
It got so bad that the like they had to have the special like display on the field with the numbers. Like they couldn't show the field numbers. They had to,
what they do with the snow, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because you couldn't see them.
Now, what happened with the towel thing?
The towel thing.
I remember seeing it talked about on my timeline. I did actually get to visually see it though.
So the holder brought out a towel, the punter who holds the field goal kicks. He brought out a towel to wipe down the field, and that's apparently a penalty. Like, that specific scenario is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and nobody fucking knew about it.
Wow.
Except like one ref who like was like, "Oh, you can't do that."
That's a ref who puts in the fucking work right there.
Yeah,
he's on the tape. Like he's a tape dog right there as a ref.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's some insight to be like, oh, this is it's raining like shit today. Let me see if there's any rain specific rules, and you cannot wipe down the field with a towel before you kick, I guess.
That also like. That ref also kind of feels like a tattletale. Like
that's literally their job, though.
I understand. That's very true, actually. But like, I look at that. I'm like, do you really need to penalize them trying to wipe down? I guess because all teams have to work in that circumstance. But like, just it's a towel. It's not gonna ruin the game. Anyways, that is very funny though. That one ref just showed up and be like, "Hey, excuse me, actually, you can't fucking use that. You can't use a towel on the field." God. All right, there you go. That is our week 1 recap of those 3 games. But because there's a lot to react to, we're gonna go through our overreactions, and we'll also like throw in any other comments that we had for week 1 because there's a lot to talk about. But I'll start with the overreactions.
Go for it.
I'll go my first one. As those who have been listening to this podcast for quite some time know, it has been very hard, very difficult for me to move off of the Patriots. I've always looked at any struggles that they've had over the years with a lot of skepticism, because I'm like, well, they've always figured it out. They will always bounce back. They will always never just be dead, buried in the ground. And I think I'm still somewhat hesitant even now, but I think my overreaction coming out of week 1 is that the Patriots will be the worst team in the AFC East.
Proud of you.
There's just something about the way they performed on Sunday against the Dolphins, where I don't think the Dolphins even looked all that great, and yet it was a horrific performance. There is, like, it wasn't like the offense was horrible, Like it was kind of being talked about in the training camp, but it wasn't great either. And combine that with just like the circumstances around the coaching, Mac Jones now getting injured, like
Matt Patricia and Joe Judge not thrilling you on their offensive play calling.
No, not really. The special teams coordinator and the defensive coordinator working together on the offense. No, that doesn't really thrill me. Doesn't put fire in my loins, you know? Like doesn't really do much. I just look at the Patriots at this point and I'm like, I don't trust this team, and that's rare. That's a rare thing to say, but it's just something about the aura, something about Josh McDaniels leaving, just has put this bad aura around them, and so I think that they're going to be the worst team. I know the Jets are there, but I don't know. Even the Jets, as bad as they looked on Sunday against the Ravens, like there's just something about the Jets that I feel like might be even better than the Patriots. I can't pinpoint what. It doesn't make any sense. It's just it's just a feeling that I have with the Patriots right now.
I agree with you there. I'm gonna go a similar negative route and say that Aaron Rodgers is washed.
All right. Yeah.
Look, they're absolutely going to be better.
Sure.
And if Christian Watson catches that touchdown, his story is a little bit different. Right. But I mean, he did not look good in the game against the Vikings, and the Vikings have a good defense, but it's not like it's a lights out defense like some other teams have.
Sure.
Aaron is not going to play well this season. I think Devontae Adams is going to be sorely missed. I think that we have two case studies, and obviously it's only been 1 week, but we have two case studies this year of like top tier quarterbacks losing their number one option. And Mahomes is fine. Tyreek Hill is fine. Devontae Adams is fine. Aaron has yet to prove that he's fine without him.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. Do you think it's the ivermectin?
Absolutely. Like I said, he wanted to be a Bronco and he wanted to be on a horse team, and now he's not.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even, you know what connection I didn't even think about? Oh wait, no, they fucking extended him. I forgot. I was gonna say, like, if he did hit free agency next year, the Broncos are no longer an option. But then I just remember they did extend him. So yeah, all right, whatever. There's not even fun drama to be had around that guy. You know, he just ruins everything.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm with you yet on that. I mean, but
you said overreaction.
It is an overreaction, though, right? No, exactly. No, I like the overreaction, and I do think it's going to be interesting. The Bears do play the Packers next week. You know, will be interesting. I'm kind of fascinated to see where the Packers end up this season, because there is some intrigue around them as just like, all right, well, you don't have your best star receiver anymore. What can you do for everything? And right now, after the Vikings game, nothing ideal right now. Nothing ideal for them. Geno Smith will lead the Hawks to a 7 seed.
Yes.
I don't know why, but like, there's something about Pete Carroll just fucking you know how he, like, I don't care how anyone tries to downplay it, he fucking hates Russell Wilson. And I think that he wanted to do anything and everything to make sure that he won that game, and he did it. And I don't know, there's something about the Seahawks now that I'm like, maybe they're more lively than we thought. Maybe
you mean the first place Seattle Seahawks?
The first place NFC West Seattle Seahawks, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe they're going to be a lot friskier than we gave them credit for, and Geno Smith did look bad in that game.
He did look pretty good.
So I'm like, hey, maybe this is the Geno Sans that a few sports writers out there have been looking forward to. Like, this is, I don't know. I'm intrigued by the Seahawks team. That's for sure. Do you have any other overreactions?
I'm going to say that the Atlanta Falcons will be competitive in every game they play.
Okay. All right. doesn't you don't quite put a result on it, but you feel
No, they
like
will be competitive.
they'll be competitive though. All right.
Which, considering that I was assuming that they would be like bottom 5, like one of the worst teams, that's accomplishment. They may blow every lead they have, but they'll be competitive.
Well, we know Atlanta Falcons with their blown leads. That's something that they're very, very used to. Yeah, I think that I thought that it was a very interesting game. Weird that Kyle Pitts didn't get enough targets. Like that was a very interesting thing. Like he didn't get a whole lot of action there, but hey, Drake London looks pretty decent. You know, like it's Cordell Patterson still showing that he can play. Like there's some things there, and Arthur Smith's been known as being a offensive minded coach. We just don't know if that defense is going to be able to hold up long term. But hey, I could see it. I could see them being competitive. My last bold predictions may be a little self indulgent here, but
okay.
I say, and this is also a rare sight on this podcast, maybe the Giants will be over 500. maybe I've underestimated. Like I don't get me wrong. I've been excited that the Giants landed Brian Daboll. That does bring me joy. But maybe I underestimated the what a coaching change could do for an organization. And maybe after winning against the Titans, maybe the Giants could just take on the world. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed how Saquon Barkley looks. Saquon Barkley again.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was very surprised by that. I don't know, man. And don't get me wrong, like the two defensive holding penalties during that final drive that almost like gave the Titans the win, and like there's still mistakes. There's still like crucial things that the Giants need to work on. Like it is by no means perfect. That's why I'm holding off on saying they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but maybe this team has 9 wins in them. I don't know. Like
maybe
we got one down, so we got just 8 more to go. Like
yeah,
it could happen. It could happen. Do you have one more?
One more is the Colts are going to choke making the playoffs in Week 18 again.
That's, you know what, that's it. Yeah, we did talk about the game that didn't happen, that did not exist in the Colts and Texans.
That essentially does not exist anymore.
Yeah, like it'd been poofed from the record. But yeah, like that's why I Team Chaos the Texans, which I'm so fucking mad that they did not get it. I was just like, you're so close. You were so close.
So close.
But when when they were like up 2 scores on the Colts, I was just like, man, like I did that out of just like, it's been like the tradition lately that they don't win their opener, and they still have not won their opener. But like, what is happening that they just cannot break the streak? It's wild. Yeah, just truly something insane there. But I'm with you. I think that the Colts could absolutely choke again.
Can you hear my dogs in the background?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Maggie, stop it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As you deal with the dogs, let me tell you about our sponsors. Hi everyone, it's Chris, and I'm back once again to tell you all about Anchor. Anchor by Spotify has actually been the tool of choice for Team Chaos Productions since the moment we decided to get into podcasting. And the biggest reason for this is it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or even your phone. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts and many more. And best of all, Anchor is free. You do not need to worry about any features being locked out to you. You can get it all if you just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
And we're back. Before we do our picks, is there any game that we did not bring up that you want to talk about at all?
Let me take a look at the spread. Bills look amazing.
Oh yeah, that was that was a very strong performance.
Yep. The Panthers are who we thought they were, or who they were, like exactly the same team as they were last year.
Which team again?
The Panthers.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Nothing has changed on that front.
Nope.
Yeah, I even though they lost, proud of the Lions. Thought that was good.
Lions were great.
That was a good performance, but then they were down multiple scores. The fact that it ended by within three, like that's very good against an Eagles team that I think a lot of people are extremely hyped about. So yeah, Chargers also looked pretty good. Raiders, the Devontae Adams, Derek Carr connection looked pretty good, but outside of that, I know they look like they're struggling out of the gate. Oh, and how about the fucking Cowboys?
Yee-ho, no.
Oh boy, that Dak Prescott injury is they were not doing well with him, and now he is going to be out quite a bit of time, supposedly. Yep. At least. Yep. Not an ideal way to start the season for the Cowboys. Did you watch the whole Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
The ending to that game.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing. So that was a former Packers coach making a decision to kick a field goal instead of giving the ball to your Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
Reminded me of something. And you know what the funniest fucking thing? That shit would have tied the NFL record had it gone in.
Right.
Versus Russell Wilson making a 6-yard pass.
It is bizarre. That was a truly, truly bizarre set of events that from a coaching perspective, maybe one of the worst coaching debuts.
But also just letting the time run out when you had 3 timeouts and could have made a drive.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Broncos. Thank God they faced the Cowboys this week.
You mean the Texans?
Did they face the Texans? I thought they faced the Cowboys.
Bengals are facing
the Cowboys. Thank God they faced the Texans.
Right, exactly. All right. I think that covers everything, at least of note. And of course, we'll talk more about these teams as we pick them. So let's jump into it. Matt, you went 9-6. You did not get your guarantee. You did not get your team chaos.
Nope.
But you still netted 2 points. I went 8-7. Did not get my guarantee. Almost got my team chaos, but because in a tie circumstance, we just say it's a loss for the team chaos. So ultimately, that was I did not get any benefit from that. So I also lost a point on that. So I am still at 0 points going into week number 2. Matt, get us started on the week 2 picks.
All right, Thursday night's matchup between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The first game exclusive specifically to Amazon Prime.
Ooh, do you think that you're going to be able to watch this game normally, like on a TV?
Yeah, I mean, cool. I'll probably have to use my parents' Amazon stuff, and I'll use an HDMI on my laptop or something.
Sure. Yeah, I do have Amazon on my TV. I think yes, I do. So yeah. I should be able to check it out.
I probably have Amazon. I've got Amazon on my second TV, but my smart TV is not the one I use most of the time.
Sure. So, right. So interesting.
We'll see.
Weird territory we're entering with the NFL.
It is. There's a Christmas weekend game last year that was on it, but
that's true. I forgot about that.
But Los Angeles Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs, both coming off a win. Kansas City much more dominant than the Chargers. All the Chargers still played pretty well. Will be without Keenan Allen, but I don't know. I think this game's going to be pretty close. I'm very excited for it. It will definitely show the trajectory of the division. I think. Who do you think is going to come up victorious?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The Chargers have a very interesting 1-2 punch that they have had to deal with to start the season in facing the Raiders and Chiefs and basically setting the tone for the division single-handedly, essentially. I want to pick the Chargers. I just am... I kind of feel like the Chiefs and their performance on Sunday made me think, okay, I think this Chiefs team is going to be hard to stop this year, and I think that's where I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. But I'm hopeful for the Chargers. It'd be fun to see them win.
I'm in the same boat with the Chiefs, but I am hard rooting for the Chargers.
So you're picking.
I'm picking the Chiefs,
right?
But
yeah.
When I'm watching the game, I'm going to be rooting for the Chargers.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. We're in the same boat, definitely. The New York Jets at the Cleveland Starfish. Of course, the Starfish coming off of barely winning over the Carolina Panthers. Well, the New York Jets, of course, squandered their opportunity against the Ravens. Obviously, Joe still backup. This is gonna be a backup quarterback game. It's probably not gonna be very pretty. Matt, what do you think is gonna happen in this one?
Well, I mean, the Starfish get to unveil their new field paint, which includes Starfish the Elf.
Starfish. Okay, yes, that's right.
Out of the
Starfish E the Elf.
Starfish E the Elf. I mean, I think Cleveland is probably going to win this. They still have a solid defense. They played well against Carolina. I don't see the Jets really being able to stand up to them. I'll take Cleveland here, as much as it sucks.
Yeah, I'm going Starfish as well. The Jets. I want to believe in this team, but they have to show it, man. It's just too many times that this team just falls apart. I hope they win. Obviously, I think both of you and I would love to see the Starfish go down, but I think the Starfish will do it.
All right, Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions. This is a sneaky good game. This game should not be as good as it is.
Yeah.
Commanders coming off a win. Lions coming off of a very well played loss against the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz played really well. A lot of Washington's offense felt really solid, and the Lions also had a lot of just really well good synergy with each other. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is going to win?
Think about the Commanders. Is as much as Carson Wentz played well, he also gave away quite a few balls in that game.
Yes.
And I just, again, happy for them. And again, like, I'll still stick by my Jaguars going to win the AFC South, prediction right now. Just, I want to back off of it just because of one game. But I would also say because of one game doesn't mean I'm necessarily very high on this Washington team. And the Lions just have my heart. I'm going to go with the Lions. I like, especially at home, there's just something about playing in that Ford Field right now that just feels right to me, that they're just going to keep on, that they should be able to win this game, especially with how close they played a potential Super Bowl contender to the Eagles. Are you there?
Very nice.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
I'm also going to pick the Lions.
Okay.
I like the Commanders. I think will play pretty well, but
sure.
I like the Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next up, the Buccaneers travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady has yet to win a game against the Saints in a Buccaneers uniform.
I believe you're correct. He may have won one, but
maybe not. The only, I think in the regular season specifically, I think in the postseason the Bucs did win that game against the Saints, but this is going to be, say what you will about the Saints, it was a very weird game on Sunday for them, but they have always been a tough out against the Bucs. Do you think they will beat Tom Brady again?
I have the Saints winning the division, and part of that would be beating the Bucks here. So, like, logic says I should pick the Saints. I still think I'm going to pick the Buccaneers because I think they did look good. They did look good Sunday night. Granted, it was against the Cowboys, but Saints definitely have a chance. This is not as one-sided as ESPN's pick'em is saying that it'll be.
Sure. I'm going to pick the Saints. This is no guarantee or team chaos or anything. I'm picking the Saints straight up. Plus, it's a very close spread still. I look at the Saints and things were not really working well at first, but there's something about how their offense completely turned on. Michael Thomas looks real good. By the way.
Yes, he does.
And I just feel like that offense, and if their defense can make up from last week, because last week was a little bit of a rough go for them, but if they could live up to the billing of being one of the best defenses, I think they have a shot against the Bucks. I'm taking the Saints in this matchup.
Alrighty. Next up, Carolina Panthers lost to the Starfish versus the New York Giants. Surprise win over the Titans. It is in New York. Do the Giants have another one in them against a lesser team?
I gotta go with the Giants. I just like now I'm feeling it. You know, just for 1 week.
Yeah.
For 1 week, I just want to feel good about being a Giants fan. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go with them. Can the Panthers do it? Sure, absolutely. Anything can happen. But I just feel like Baker Mayfield did not look good. And I don't know about this team, man. There's talent. There's so much talent on this team, and it just feels like it's squandered constantly.
Yep. That's my curse. I'm also going with the Giants. I think Dable's a great coach. Daniel Jones is like one of the wildest players because he makes like for every play he makes that you look at and go, oh, that was a pretty good play. He makes like 3 that are, oh God, what are you doing?
Oh, absolutely, 1,000%. Yeah, this is the highs and lows of the Giants' experience right now. But hey, if he could do some of the better plays here and there, it'll be easier for them to get these victories. But yeah, perfect situation for them to keep winning. The New England Patriots against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots, I think they're going to have Mac Jones this week. It was kind of a back injury scare, and it just turns out he just is working out the kinks of a spasm that was going on. So he's going to play. Steelers will be without TJ Watt, but their defense still looks good. What will this game be, Matt? What
this is going to be a very defensive-heavy battle, I think, because I think both offenses are going to struggle. The Steelers might be without Najee. He may play, he may not play. Either way, like both defenses are really, really good, and both offenses are struggling a bit. I have a little bit more faith in the Steelers' offense right now, though.
I'm with you. Yeah, I feel like this should be an easier game for them than even the Bengals was last week, but I could be wrong. But I'm going Steelers.
Alrighty. Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris, no team in the AFC South has a win, and 2 teams in the AFC South played each other last week.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is not Carson Wentz versus the Jaguars, but it is still the Colts versus the Jaguars, who...
Great.
I never understand the matchup for, but will Indy be able to get the win this time?
No. And this is... How horrible is this that I'm doing this to the Colts 2 weeks in a row? I'm team chaosing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I will take the Colts, but it's not a confident one. I'm
trying to even remember when the last time they won in Jacksonville. I think it was like 2015. I want to say like it was
something like that. A while ago. More than 5 years.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Hey, I'm hopeful. Hey, I want this. I would love to see the Colts win this game, but they just had two. They can't win in week 1 and they can't win in Jacksonville. They have to face that back to back to start the season. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
Next up, the Miami Dolphins at Baltimore Ravens. Of course, both teams coming off a nice victory. Maybe another sneaky, interesting game. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, both. I agree. I think this is going to be very interesting. The Ravens obviously just throttled the Jets, and I don't think they're not going to throttle the Dolphins, but I still think they seem to be getting their pieces back together a little bit more. J.K. Dobbins' health is still a little bit up in the air.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It could be fine. I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this matchup.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, like the Dolphins, good for them for winning. I didn't love their game overall. I felt like that they played well and they blew out the Patriots, but I kind of feel like that was more a Patriots loss than a Dolphins win, if that makes sense. And because of that, I'm picking the Ravens. I really love this Ravens team. I'm guaranteeing that the Ravens are going to win this game.
I respect that.
Because it just again, Dolphins would be fun for them, fun to see them go 2-0 and start winning a lot of these games. I just see the Ravens doing it a lot more, and I just like it the way that this Ravens team is built a lot more than the Dolphins. But it'll be a fun game. I'm guaranteeing the Ravens though.
Sweet. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons, coming off of their blown lead against the Saints, take on the Los Angeles Rams, who got blown out by the Bills. Mm-hmm. Do the Falcons stand a chance against the defending Super Bowl champs?
I guess they could, but yeah. And you said yourself that you think that they could be competitive. This is one of those things though where I think that the Rams running into the Bills, and I know I said the opposite last week, but I think the Rams running into the Bills was just a rough matchup for them ultimately.
Yes.
I think that this is a bounce back week for them. I'll take the Rams.
I'm also going to take the Rams.
There you go. The Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. NFC West matchup. The current NFC West leaders, the Seahawks, coming off of their Broncos win. 49ers hopefully will not have to play in the rain this time. I don't think it rains too much in San Francisco, so what do you think's going to happen?
I really like Geno Smith, Chris.
Hey, I said they're going to lead the Hawks to a 7 seed.
Yeah, I really like Geno Smith. This would be wild if this actually does happen, and I would throw the panic alarm on Trey Lance immediately.
Yeah, 100%.
If the 49ers lost this game. That said, I'm Team Chaosing the Seahawks.
Love it.
I know they have the larger record, but they are over 8-point underdogs.
Oh no! I trust the line. I trust the way that people judge these things. Now, that is a great Team Chaos because they would this is whenever we do Team Chaos, it is the underdog beats the better team. But this is a true chaos scenario. If the 49ers start 0-2 and Trey Lance is not performing well, this is where shit could hit the fan for them big time. I am going to go Niners. I do still have faith in this team. They were my NFC champion in the preseason, so I still have faith that they'll get it done. But I will never doubt Geno Smith ever again.
Yes. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals take on the Dallas Cowboys. Wires crossed in my mind. Bengals were an uninjured lawn snapper away from a comeback victory versus the Dallas Cowboys, who lost Dak, didn't look good even when Dak was out there. Do the Cowboys have any chance?
I don't think so. I know the Bengals did not have their best game. I'm just gonna chalk it up to the Super Bowl hangover, and maybe that lasts throughout the season. But I just still think this Bengals team is going to be good. I think that the Steelers are just a tough team to face in week 1. I have faith that they're going to get it done. I'm going with the Bengals.
I'm also going with the Bengals.
There you go.
Let's do it.
There you go. The Texans at the Broncos. This is a very interesting game between two head coaches that did not have good debuts, with very weird late game decisions.
Talking about playing
fronts.
for a tie not being as good as a loss.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's a rough go of it. But Matt, I know Lovie Smith is your guy from Illinois. You know, totally.
Yeah.
And also for the Bears, for the Super Bowl year. What do you think's going to happen here?
I think the Broncos are going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Seattle was weird.
Yep. Very weird game to play.
The way I described it to multiple people was watching the Broncos felt like watching the Seahawks.
100%. Well, so that's the thing, though. That's the thing. What if the problems with the clock management and the weird coaching decisions that we've always blamed Pete Carroll? What if that was all Russell Wilson this whole time, and we've just been casting the blame?
It's one game. We can't overreact.
I'm just saying. That is at least a thought that has entered some people's minds after that game. It's like with the Brady versus Belichick thing all over again. I'm going with the Broncos though. I'm not picking the Texans again. I think it just comes down to who made the more, like, they both made horrific decisions.
Yeah.
But there's just at that point it kind of cancels each other out. And who do I think is just the better team? And I think the Broncos are still the better team. They seem like they still have a ton of talent. I'm going with them.
The Texans are still like running Rex Burkhead as their number one receiver. So.
Right. Like that's not ideal in this situation per se.
Next up, Arizona Cardinals. Wait, whose turn is it? Sorry.
No, it's your turn. It's your turn.
Okay,
I was just gonna remind you.
Arizona Cardinals versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Cardinals just got trounced by the Chiefs last week. They faced another AFC West team. Raiders got beat by the Chargers, but do they have the ability to bounce back against the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm choosing between these two teams, I still think I have more faith in the Raiders right now. I think that they still have the pass rush did not show up last week, so that kind of concerns me. But it's still it's still Devontae Adams on your offense, and you still have Darren Waller. There's still a lot of these aspects of this team that look good on paper that I just really like this team, especially against a Cardinals team that just feels like it's kind of flopping right now. So I'm going Raiders.
I'm also going Raiders. I am guaranteeing the Raiders.
That's awesome. That's a very good one.
Because the Cardinals secondary is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a joke on a podcast that it's not a secondary, it's a tertiary.
Oh, yeah.
Credits to Andy Holloway of the Fantasy Footballers. I just had to repeat that.
No, yeah, that's very good. That's very good.
Very good. I trust the Raiders offense a lot. I think the Raiders will win this.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. This is a Sunday Night Football matchup. Bears do have the winning record, but will Aaron Rodgers rise from the ashes? The asses. Will he rise from the asses, Matt?
Oh, no.
From the horses' asses.
I mean, it's Green Bay against Chicago. Green Bay is going to win. I can't... Bears have the better record, but that's not going to fucking last long.
No.
It would be different if, he's probably going to get Lazard back next week. He'll likely get Bakhtiari back. I don't see the Bears winning this. If they do, though, I am going to be, screaming from the rooftops.
Yeah. I mean, it would be wild to see the Bears would go 2-0 and the Packers fall 0-2. That would be an incredible moment, I think, in this podcast's history. Even though it's very early and it doesn't really matter, it would be great.
No.
I'm going to pick the Packers as well. But hey, weird shit has happened before, as we have said.
Yep. Next up, Tennessee Titans versus the Buffalo Bills, the very famous matchup. I like seeing these teams play, even if they may seem pretty one-sided. Bills dominated last year's Super Bowl champs. The Titans, coming off of a loss to the Giants.
Yes.
Can they beat the Bills?
No. I mean, I guess, like, the Titans do tend to have the Bills number, weirdly, but I think that this Bills team is just built differently, and I don't have the full faith in this Titans group right now to think that they could beat a Bills team that looks like a buzzsaw at the moment. The Bills are at home, so this is their home debut for this season. I just feel like that place is going to be loud and obnoxious. I like the Bills in this game.
I also like the Bills. Bills are a good football team.
Yep. 100%. And finally, so we have a Monday night doubleheader in week 2.
Yes,
I don't quite understand that. Yeah, it's weird because they're also going to overlap with each other. Like, it's very, very, very interesting set of games here. But the Vikings at the Eagles. This might be the game of the week too. Like, looks really good.
This is a really good game.
Really good on paper. The Vikings, of course, coming off of the really nice win against the Packers. One of my overreactions I actually had in mind was saying the Vikings are going to the Super Bowl, because you had them at number 2, as the number 2 seed. And I was just like, oh wow, that seems very high. But all right, that sounds. All right, I'll see what
Justin Jefferson.
But my goodness, it was him. But it was just like everything with that team was a complete win for them against the Packers, and it's just like they looked really, really good. But now you go up against an Eagles team that, granted, had struggled against the Lions at moments, but generally still won, and they are probably going to be a tough team to beat especially for the division, but maybe even in the NFC. So what do you think's going to happen here?
Oh my god! Like, both of these teams are like gonna be so fun to watch. I love that for some reason, like, Vikings and Eagles are like the perfect level of quality of team in the NFC to get excited about.
100%.
Like, Packers, Buccaneers, Rams. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Vikings, Eagles.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Vikings. I like the Vikings a lot this year. Justin Jefferson balled out. I think that if you compare the Vikings to the Lions and what the Lions were able to do to the Eagles, I think the Vikings are going to have a much better, could potentially even do better than the Lions did against the Eagles. So I'm picking the Vikings.
Yeah, and again, it's a week-to-week thing, and things could change, and the Eagles could come up with a really good game plan. I almost guaranteed the Vikings in this game. But I was just like, you know what? I like going risky with the guarantees, but I don't want to go so risky because this is a tight matchup. Yes. I am gonna go Vikings though. I'm with you. I think there's just something about this team now that I've seen the first week of what they can do, and I'm like, let's see it again. And I have faith in them that they'll keep on doing that, and maybe the Vikings will be what we thought the Eagles were going to be this year. And the Eagles could still be that, but like now I think that it's going to become more widespread, like groupthink, I guess, that the Vikings are going to be a lot better than maybe what we thought going into the season. Yeah. Outside of you did have a number 2 seed. you saw the future.
Good. I promise you, the Vikings are going to be good.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So with that, 3 disagreements. So it's just our chaoses, which I have the Jaguars, you have the Seahawks, and then the Buccaneers versus Saints matchup at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Real good, real fun, real exciting. I just realized that I might have started to schedule the game of Coop on that Sunday for recording.
Yes, you did.
But that's okay, because that's the Bears Packers. I can just have it on in the background while we record. That's not a big deal. But yeah, awesome stuff here. Very excited for this weekend. Yeah. Any last thoughts? Any last things? Any last lingering things?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Go What do I want to? What show do I?
Oh, that's true. Usually, you like sometimes when I throw it to you, you do like to come up with like some recommendations. You were talking to me about Rick and Morty earlier.
I don't need nor want to plug Rick and Morty. I just say that watch it. Yeah. Toucan Birdie, very good. Season 3 is now finished. If you have HBO Max, I would say don't get HBO Max, but season 1, Toucan Birdie's on Netflix. 2 and 3 are on HBO Max. Watch it. It's very good. You should do it. You should support both the animation studio because it's very good, but also like adult animation run by women, which is a very not well fleshed out
doesn't get the respect it deserves.
No, not a lot of respect. And I also I cannot name another one. Right. So I mean that might be a failing on me, but also just in general, watch Toucan Birdie. It's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, this is a slight tease for next week's episode. Matt, we're going back to it. I'm returning to tracking our prediction records for each team.
Okay, awesome.
So I've already started filling it out. But it would not have. I was thinking about putting it in as a segment this week, but I was just like, nah. It's too early. Everyone's like either 1-0 or 0-1, and then like the Texans and Colts, it's like like those guys are like ties. Like it doesn't really matter. So it's like it would not be super interesting. I feel like next week we could start digging into how we're performing picks wise for each of these teams.
Sweet.
So I'm excited about that. But anyways, folks, that's going to do it for us here with Virtual Ball Boys. Hey, if you are listening, thank you. That's great. Let us know. Let us know your overreaction. Use the hashtag VVB or tweet us at Virtual Ball Boys with your overreaction. Because you know what? All overreactions are valid unless they're really shitty.
Yeah.
And you'll find out that they're shitty. You'll most likely be blocked by our Twitter account. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Good night. Good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.